So all in all, I've been making great progress on this new production I'm working on. I'm really excited. I've been totally indulgent about spending 2 weeks creating my own personal sample library, and I've been using my newly built Kbox. I'm really excited about the way that I'm setting up this template. Basically, it is a totally portable rig, and I've basically got a kind of an A setup which I have at home, which is not in my main studio because that's being wired up very shortly, and I know that at some point it's going to clash with the production, so I didn't want to have to move out of one studio whilst working on this one project. And then I have my traveling setup, but basically everything is running off a single T3. I have taken the samples I want from my everything drive and put them onto that T3, everything I think perceivably I will need. And now I'm approaching the series with a really kind of freehand approach, whereby I've built this sample library and I've loaded all of those sounds in, and then I know that I'm probably going to have a string band at some point, so I've just got basically a couple of libraries in the current template, and I'm going to be concentrating using Evo 3 because I've been working less as a composer these days. It's quite tragic really. I come up with these ideas for sample libraries, we make them, and then I don't get the opportunity to use them. So I still haven't used Tundra on anything yet, which is a bit devastating. And Evo 3 I think is a couple of years old, so it's great to go back and revisit that and actually have to learn on the fly how to get the best out of it, which I will fill you in on. But most excitingly, so let's get back to my personal sample library, of which I've got kind of different classifications of samples. So I've got these very delicate sounding harp textures, constructed from Sam Sims' amazing harp library, Chrysalis, which I'd recommend you having a look at. Completely walked out of recognition into these very kind of Eno-esque pads. And then I've also tried some virtual morphed orchestral stuff. And then I've got pads that are named after a fellow composer, Atticus Ross, which have a slightly more granular element. And then I've got these unstable pads, which really feature the use of the heliotrope. But I've also created some kooky kind of synths. I'm really enjoying these because it's a retro sound. Not retro because it's like a retro synth. Retro because it's a kind of retrospective look at how we used to use samples, which is a small sample spread across the entire keyboard. And it's amazing, I started playing these, and this sound is something that I think has been lost of late with multi-sampling, round robins, all of that kind of stuff. These are just a single sample being triggered repeatedly across the keyboard. So really enjoying that. And then I've got a toolkit of sounds which are just great for kind of some loopy stuff. And some kind of incidental effects. With sincere thanks for your continued support of me on this vlog and my dodgy camera work, I'd like to offer up some of these samples to you guys for free. I've selected my favourites from each category and I've zipped them up into a folder, and if you go to the URL just below in the video description box, you can get them from there, and you use the password Oscar, all in lowercase. I work on the EXS24 format, which is the Logic sampler, and I have to say I think these pads demonstrate the power of the EXS24's filters, which just seem to work out of the box. They're absolutely awesome. So EXS24 users, make sure you use your modulation wheel. Now for those of you who don't use EXS, maybe Contact or anything else, the WAV files are in the samples folders, but I've also put some crib sheets in so you can build your own. I've got many more treats on the way. So if you like these, hit subscribe. And if you like what I'm doing, hit like.